Welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and this is part 6 of reading the Warhammer 40K core rulebook. We are on page 60. This will be the Horrors of Chaos, and as always, this book is being posted in the Super Meat Boy playlist. Double checking OBS. The Horrors of Chaos. Time passes strangely in the warp, and its corrupting energies make a mockery of that which the human race considers possible. So it is those same Traitor Legions, who pitted themselves against the throne world 10,000 years ago, still endure. Sustained by sheer bitterness, the fires of their hatred of the Emperor, unquenched by the long passage of years. The Imperium has known countless foes over its millennia-long existence. Many have come and gone, their own power waxing and waning. Others have presented sudden and shocking threats to the Emperor's realm, but once vanquished, have vanished into the teetering mountains of data scrolls and ledgers entombed beneath the Emperor's palace on Terra. Only one enemy has remained a constant and omnipresent threat throughout the last 10,000 years, and there is a grim irony that it is an enemy of humanity's own making. These are the Traitor Legions, the heretic Astartes, the dreaded Chaos Space Marines. Hounded across the galaxy by vengeful Imperial armies, Horus's traitors are forced to take refuge in the Eye of Terror, a vast interstitial area of space between the warp and real space, plunging into anarchic tides of this tainted region. They fractured and degenerated into a nightmarish plethora of ways. Some legions, Angron's blood-mad world eaters, and the ever-anarchic Night Lords chief amongst them, shattered entirely into countless war bands, each led by their own dangerously ambitious champion. Others, such as Parabatos and Relentless Iron Warriors, retained much of their martial structure, but were corrupted body and soul by the ruinous powers. During the horrors of the heresy, a number of the Primarchs had pledged themselves and their legions to a particular dark god, and now those monstrous beings became the rulers of their own daemon worlds. Horus had united the Traitor Legions, with the War Master dead, the insanity of chaos all around them, and the promise of unlimited power tantalizing within their reach. The defeated renegades fell upon one another, and anyone else unfortunate enough to stand in their way, and thought only of walking the bloody path to glory. Despite all this, the unifying factor that the Traitor Legions retained was their hatred of the Imperium. Whether they believed that they had truly fought upon the right side of the ideological conflict had been embittered by the loss of their beloved heroes or battle brothers during the fighting, resented their martial defeat at the 11th hour, or had simply descended into murderous insanity hardly mattered. To the traitors that the war was far from over, and their determination to see Terra burn was greater than ever. So began the long war. It began with sporadic raiding by chaos-worshipping heretic Astartes bands against Imperial holdings bordering the Eye of Terror, with few stable warp routes in or out of the malevolent realm. Smaller raiding parties could slip in and out with impunity, but larger forces had to attempt to pass through the Cadian Gate. Centered around the fortress world of Cadia itself, this massively defended region had been established specifically to hold back potential threat of a major traitor invasion of Imperial space, and it did its job well despite the cost. Yet as the centuries ground past, worshippers of the Dark God found other ways to strike at the Imperium. Agents of misrule moved from world to world, establishing cults in the shadows and spurring bloody insurrection wherever imperial vigilance faltered. The whispering lure of the ruinous powers turned formerly loyal Space Marine chapters renegade, each such fallen brotherhood weakening the defenses of the Imperium, even as it strengthened the cause of the Dark Gods. Particularly determined or favored champions forged temporary alliances between Chaos war bands and rode the tides of the warp wherever they may take them, emerging into Imperial space aboard tainted warships or monstrous space hulks to reave and murder at will. The Imperium fought back, of course. For centuries, the heretic Astartes were just another of the dangers that beset humanity. Terrible, certainly. So much so that the Inquisition fought to suppress the very knowledge of their existence, lest it incite panic and heresy. Yet divided and ever at another's throats, the traitors stood no better chance of overthrowing the Imperium than did any of the other foes that battered at humanity's defenses year in and year out. Yet that was all to change. The justice of your action is measured by the strength of your conviction. The Black Crusades. When Horus fell, his chief lieutenant Abaddon had the Primarch's body borne away and held the sons of Horus together long enough to reach the Eye of Terror. What occurred beyond the precipice of real space is a matter of conjecture and guesswork to those few Imperial scholars who dare address the subject at all. What is known from records, however, is that near the end of M31, Abaddon, the Despoiler, emerged again from the Eye of Terror, leading his renamed Black Legion and dozens of allied Chaos war bands in the first of his apocalyptic Black Crusades. The tide of screaming lunatics, twisted mutants, demonic warriors, and hellish war engines wrought havoc throughout the Cadian Gate, before they were at last turned back at terrible cost of lives. Yet incredibly, in the bleak light of hindsight, it seems likely that the entire war was but a distraction, during which Abaddon was able to travel in secret to the world of Urlan and claim the demon sword Drachnin. This, along with the mighty talent of his own slayed Gene Sire, he would use to butcher the servants of the Emperor in their thousands. This was only the beginning. As the millennia ground on, the Despoiler struck again and again against the Imperium. 12 more Black Crusades bedeviled the Emperor's realm, some greater and some smaller, but each working towards some ineffable goal that only Abaddon himself truly understood. The shrine of Saint Gestal was despoiled, and the prophetic words in his tomb erased from existence. The citadel of Cromarch was breached, and the entire line put to death. The forge world of Arkrith was annihilated. The naval fortress of Cancephalus, I can't pronounce things, crushed, and the Gothic sector plunged into unrelenting war. Always Abaddon demonstrated terrifying foreknowledge of the Imperium's defenses and strove to achieve goals that his enemies did not understand until it was far too late. Only when the Great Rift roared into being and the Imperium shuddered as it was split in two did those few cursed with knowledge see the truth of what Abaddon and his heretic Astartes had striven to achieve. There is no greater foe than chaos. The Ordo Xenos Prate of alien empires, of shapeshifters and mind stealers. The priests of Mars blare about tech heresy, while witch hunters decry the psyker and the mutant by the firelight. These last at least understand the symptom, if not the cause. None of them truly understand, though, that there are things that lurk beyond the veil, swarming so thick that even the administration had 1,000 years they could not tally these deeds. These demons, they hate us with a malevolence and an intensity beyond words. It is their nature, their purpose, to worm their way through the skin of reality and unleash horror upon our realm. Yet just as they are but puppets of their dark masters, so they can also act as puppeteers. They take the minds and souls of potent psychers, brave warriors, cunning generals, and devoted healers, and they twist all that might benefit humanity. Their poison spreads until the Imperium's greatest champions become instead its most terrible foes. Chaos peers into the collective human soul and uses what it finds there to turn us against ourselves. That, acolyte, is why it is the greatest danger we face. Inquisitor LHORCUS. How the fuck would you say that? One of the dead is still alive. At first, this is of no interest at all. The battle is over, and the war will soon follow. Neither Zaravel nor his lord have any need of prisoners. In life, the enemy hold no information worth torturing from them, and Zaravel can tear whatever he needs to know from a foe even after death. Often it's easier that way, to sink his psychic talons into the corpses of a writhing soul and gently, so very gently, draw forth what he requires. Many of his brethren delight in the brutality. It is a thing some of them unleash at will in the heat of war, while others release it in the quiet moments between battles. It is catharsis for some, and grotesque indulgence for others. Zaravel feels little in the way of these desires, so he tells himself. A truth unfaced is as good as a lie, whispers the monster in his blood. But he quells that beastly murmuring, refusing to fuel it. Instead, he listens to the warrior that still lives amidst the gathered dead. He hears the breathy invocations, and these aren't merely the curses of a dying man, for they would be easy to ignore. Generations of bloodshed and battle have rendered such things beneath Zaravel's otherwise heightened senses. No more notable than the scurrying of rats or the muted click songs of insectile vermin. Ignorable, forgettable background sounds to his life. These words are something more. They are the pleas of a warrior demanding more of his failing form, pleading for just one more chance, begging for the strength to keep fighting. This is amusing, and amusement is rare and precious, enough to be savored. Zaravel starts hunting. A battle's aftermath is never truly silent. Ruptured armor still hums, even with the weavers reduced to lifeless ruin. Blood no longer runs now, the hearts are stifled, but the looting victors walk through pools of collected gore. Weapons hiss and steam as they cool in the chill air. The tank engines idle, as throaty as weary beasts. A battle leaves echoes that take a long time to fade. deadland raiders lie slouched, no more than smoking hulks, suits of ceramite, warplate cast in both the black of the victors and the red of the dead. Litter the streets, this is war costing the Legion dearly. Abaddon will not be pleased, Zeravel thinks. And that name, just the silent sound of that name is enough to entice the beast in his blood to stir. Somewhere within the chorus of echoes, Zeravel hears the ragged drag of mauled respiration. He wades through the fallen, through blackened chunks of barricade. Though the ashy rubble of sacred buildings that now lie shattered across the Rockcrete road. In his hunt, he pays no heed to the shards, the priceless ceramite he grinds beneath his tread. Later, he will pull mangled armor plating from the ignoble dead and use it to patch the damage to his own warplate. Later, the spoils of war will be torn from the slain to regenerate the living. Later. Now he hunts. As he moves, the creature that dwells within his bloodstream shivers, toying with the idea of awakening. Sleep, he bids the beast. Its response is a wordless, idle affirmation, a flicker of instinct. The survivor scarcely deserves the title. He is a thing, a sundered armor and broken flesh, a shattered remnant of a soul too stubborn to realize he's already dead. On the warrior's shoulder, facing the sky in cracked splendor, is the emblem of his defeated horde. It glitters, the blood drop of ruby crystal, with flaring ivory wings, broken beneath the uncaring stars. The symbol proclaims the dying warrior as a scion from the thin-blooded shadows that fight beneath the banner of what was once an ancient and proud legion. Just another pack of lesser sons dying in the emulation of their failed gene father. Survival knows the symbol well, not only from breaking in battle, but from wearing it in another age, in another war. He interrupts the revenants to clenched vocations, the clawed horror that was once Zeravel's left hand, wraps around the survival's throat, choking off the warrior's words. The grunt breaks himself to the chest plate of another fallen. Zeravel hauls the dying warrior from the mount of the dead. Mark, spurt of the man's gouged armor. Greetings, Zeravel says, O bleeding angel. His words come from a tongue surreally archaic, a dialect of Malian that last saw common usage among almost 400 generations ago. But enough of the language roots remain, whatever duration remains spoken amongst walls and cities today. The wounded warrior's eyes flare. 10,000 years of shifting lexicon. Still the victor's words were understood. Do you know what lies beyond the Zeravel asks, in that ancient tongue? Do you know what lies in the void, poisoned by its own madness, listening to prayers like yours, the bloody bears of faith? Zeravel turns his face. No laughter burns in your eyes, as hatred persists. Zeravel commands the dying angel. See me. Look. Angelic brothers divided by 10,000 years of divided loyalty. One wears war scars ravaged red.